Smell us now, lady.
Welcome to MeatEater Trivia.
MeatEater Podcast.
Welcome to MeatEater Radio Live, coming to you live from MeatEater's world headquarters in Bozeman, Montana. It's 11 a.m. Mountain Time on July 3rd. That's 8 p.m. for Steven Ranella, who's currently in Tanzania. I'm your host, Janis Putelis, and I'm here today with Spencer Neuharth, a.k.a. Boof, and Austin Chleborad, a.k.a. Chili. On today's show, we've got big news out of Pennsylvania. I'll bring you up to speed on my training for the Crazy Mountain 100. We're getting a fishing report from Tony Jackson on the Crystal Coast of North Carolina. Tony's also playing 1 Minute Fishing. In the studio, we'll be playing Fake News, brought to you by Spencer Neuharth. And lastly, we'll talk to Jacob Hernandez and Bo Hendrickson from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's Partners for Fish and Wildlife program, who are on site at my soon-to-be Oak Savannah in central Wisconsin. So, let's get right to it. Spencer, how did you get the nickname Boof?
You've been fascinated by this ever since you heard that was my high school nickname.
Well, I asked everybody their nicknames from high school when we were for intros for doing roasts, but then they never really became part of the show. And yeah, I think that I think you actually told me the story, but I feel like we should tell the world.
It was just born out of teener baseball. It was like every single player had to have a nickname, and I happened to resemble a pitcher for the Minnesota Twins named Boof Bonzer. We both had shaggy haircuts, threw an average curveball.
You were a pitcher.
I mean,
You played everything.
everyone is a pitcher in teener baseball in a town of 600 people. So yeah. Anyway, just everyone got a nickname. I was Boof, named after Boof Bonzer, and I don't think that was his real nickname either. He came over in one of the Minnesota Twins' best trades in franchise history. Yeah, they got Francisco Liriano, Boof Bonzer, and Joe Nathan. Totally changed the trajectory of their franchise for a few years. My favorite era of Minnesota Twins baseball. So that nickname Boof, if I go back home to where I'm from, that's what I'll get called.
Oh, so it has kind of stuck.
Yeah, it sticks. Like my old coaches and teachers will call me that. My high school buddies, but I don't hear it in Montana ever. Besides Jani.
Chili, maybe we should bring that around.
We should. We should, definitely. Calling him Boof. I'd do it.
Yeah. Okay, we all know how Chili got his nickname.
He's so cold.
What's
cold.
that?
Because he's so cold.
So cold.
That's
They used to
not-
call me
that's
something
not
different
true.
back in high school.
Oh, what's that?
They used to just call me Club. And
I kind of like that.
yeah, called me Club. And then so when I go home, like Spencer was saying, it's just like all like the coaches and it's like Clubby, Club. Nobody calls me Chili from back home.
Club. I like it. All right.
Chili's better.
Onwards. Oh, Phil, you're up now.
Yo.
He's gonna do a quick plug for the kids show, which is back in action.
Kids show's back in action. We have a kids show. It's called the MeatEater Kids Podcast. It's fitting. Season 3 just started. There is 1 episode out so far. But the most important thing is that it's on its own feed. We're not dropping any episodes on the MeatEater podcast feed, so you just have to do the incredibly hard work of typing in MeatEater Kids into whatever app you use, and then follow or subscribe. And we've got Clay doing the first segment instead of Steve. The Why It's the Way It Is segment. Maggie Hedlow's doing Guess That Critter. And Spencer is still in the host chair for trivia, as is appropriate. So check it out. Another thing. Oh, yeah, we're doing 5 episodes. They drop on Mondays. That's important.
This isn't a dig at anything else we do. I think it's the best thing we make on the podcast front.
It
so
definitely,
much fun.
yeah, it stands on its own. It's fun for me to work on. I like it a lot as well.
Similar to radio, Phil gets to really flex his engineering audio muscles because there's all sorts of fun sounds in there.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. I felt something on my neck and I just went to go smack it, and then you see that?
A mosquito?
Oh, you got a skeeter.
That's the second one in here today.
It's filled with blood.
Oh,
Filled with
my.
probably not. I don't think that's all mine. Could be though.
Oh, we're sharing diseases probably now. In this
Two
room.
mosquitoes in the
that's
podcast
right.
studio.
Yeah, there's a very short time period, I feel like, in and around Bozeman that it's skeeter season. Like 1 to 2 weeks. And I noticed it last night on I was shooting some arrows right at dusk at my house, and I was getting annoyed. I was thinking, this will last another few days. It'll be over. You feel that way too?
I feel like I don't encounter it in the valley as much as if I get near water in the mountains.
That's a different
the worst
ballgame.
Mosquitoes of my life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think it doesn't last forever, because as soon as it sort of starts to get dry, they tend to just, I don't know, peter out.
And I've got one other thing to mention before we move on, some housekeeping. We're going through some internet woes here at Bozeman HQ. Internet's been dropping out actually around this time almost every single day. If the internet does drop out, you lose the feed. We will be back in about 2 to 3 minutes, so don't go anywhere. We're talking to tech people trying to fix it. But if that does happen, the show's not over. We'll just disappear for about 2 minutes and then pop back up.
Phil, you know technology. Why 11 a.m.? Like, what's going on there? It's 11
Right.
a.m. when
I
the
know
internet
technology.
drops out.
I've got no clue, Spencer. I have
Okay.
no idea. No. Yep.
It should be fixed though, Phil. We should be
Yeah,
good to go.
Chili made some calls, and so hopefully everything's working well. We're kind of just troubleshooting and seeing if it works. But
Well,
thank you,
so
Chili.
far so good. Let's keep it going and get everything knocked out in case it does drop out. At least we'll get most of the show done. All right, huge win in Pennsylvania. A statement released by the Pennsylvania chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers reads, for over a century, Pennsylvania hunters have been shut out of the woods for half the weekend. With the passage of House Bill 1431, that can finally change, putting decisions about hunting seasons in the hands of wildlife managers, not outdated blue laws. Since 2017, Pennsylvania Backcountry Hunters and Anglers has led the charge for the long overdue reform. It's a major win for access, especially for working families and public land hunters. Yeah, if you were living under a rock, you could not hunt on Sundays in Pennsylvania. I don't know exactly how many years that law has been around, but a long time. Many generations of Pennsylvania hunters.
So insane that it's just incredibly antiquated that in 2025 that would still exist. And I felt like they've been creeping towards this. Like they allowed it. I don't know their history totally, but it was like one Sunday all of a sudden. And then it was like on private land or something.
That's right.
And now it seems on July 1st, a few days ago, it reached Governor Josh Shapiro's desk. And if he signs it, then it seems like Sunday hunting is fully in action in Pennsylvania.
Really, the only pushback on it, and I only know this because I just got done editing Cal's podcast that's dropping on Monday, is just other recreational people who don't hunt but are outdoorsmen, like hikers being like, I'm going to feel unsafe in the woods on Sundays. Like Sunday has been my safe day to go hiking. And that's kind of the only knock that.
Well, they will realize that Sunday will still be a safe day to go
I think they will.
hiking.
Yeah.
Chili, you got anything to say about that? Have you ever hunted in Pennsylvania?
I have not. No. I mean, the only experience I had with Pennsylvania is when we did the MeatEater live tour. And we just went over to Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, but never got to explore outside. I want to. Seth keeps talking about whitetail hunting over there. Sounds pretty appealing.
Yeah, now that we can hunt on Sundays, I'm definitely more interested.
100%. Yeah.
We got a Slack message saying the internet is down. Are you noticing that, Phil?
Uh-oh.
Nope.
I'm not.
As
Okay.
far as I can tell, we're still live.
Okay.
And I think the viewers will let us know in the chat if they are.
I think Corey's just trying to stir the pot because he's not here.
Tried to scare us.
All right, Crazy Mountain 100. Exactly 3 weeks, 1 day from today, I'm going to start on my little endeavor of trying to run 100 miles in a row. I got 40 miles with a bunch of elevation this weekend, and then I'm tapering all the way to the finish. That's how I'm looking at it. You guys know what taper means? To taper when you're getting
I
ready for
assume it's
wind
like
down
fly
slowly.
line where it tapers and it gets skinnier at the end.
Yeah, that's right. To me, it's actually the hardest part of this whole business. This is 3 or 4 of these longer distances. And after this weekend, I'm going to basically be, after a couple of days of rest, I'll be at the peak sort of, performance peak feeling that I'll be the whole time.
Okay.
And your brain's ready to run, your legs are ready to run, and then you're like, I have to just chill for 2 weeks, basically, and wait. Because, the hope is that you're going to rest some more and just really come into it full full speed ahead. But
Brad is asking if this is your first ultra, Janis. Is a 50 considered an ultra?
I think
is 100?
I think I Googled it once, and I was told we don't Google anymore. Now you gotta. What's the new thing that you gotta do instead of Googling?
Chat GPT.
Yeah, Chat GPT. Yeah. But anything over 26.2, so anything over a marathon, I think is considered ultra. So this will be my third. I've done 250s. Sorry, fourth. I've done a 30. 1 miler, 250s, and this will be my first 100.
How often do you check in with your coach?
Oh, once every 2 weeks probably. But she, she has my training schedule, written out, usually 1 to 2 weeks out.
Do you pay her?
Yes.
Oh.
I pay her and get a gym membership at the same time at the Mountain Project.
Okay. How many other people is she coaching for a run like this?
I don't know if she has. I know for sure she has one other guy that's doing 100. But I don't know how many total. So they call them online clients because they have like in-house clients too. But I'm what they call an online client. So I don't get that much really one-on-one time with her. Like we've never been on a run together. We've been trying to kind of plan one, but we've never done it.
Okay.
All right. So I'm feeling good. I'll let you guys know how it goes. My goal is to finish.
Look good. Look strong today, Yanni.
Yeah. Well, I like to be that way at the end of this race.
Okay.
All right. A couple MeatEater store highlights. If you're into the Gnome T-shirt thing that we got going, we've just released a Gnome Angling a Megalodon T-shirt, but it's almost sold out. So if you're looking to get one, get after it. The next Gnome T-shirt will launch at the end of July. So keep your eyes open for that. The MeatEater store is having a summer sale July 8 to 11, and the theme is summer cooking. Some of the items that are going to be on sale. Select cookbooks, 25% off. This is the deal of the century right here. Benchmade Meat Crafter 2.0, 40% off. It's almost half off, Spencer. And Fire Breather hot sauces are half off, which I really like. That's one of the cooking, seasoning cooking things that we sell.
I'm a huge fan of it as well.
Right?
Yeah.
It's got a really nice flavor.
Yeah.
Ooh, it
Not
feels
too
kind
hot.
of a hot sauce snob.
I wouldn't say snob. I am repping
Expert.
a Hook and Arrow hot sauce shirt today. Shout out to those guys because the last time I complained about having to pay for the Fire Breather sauce, the Hook and Arrow guys who are fans of the show heard me and sent me a bunch of hot sauce. So thank you and they've got a hot sauce on Hot Ones this season. Very exciting.
Oh,
Congrats
wow.
to them.
Oh, good. Oh, I never thought about how that could be really influential
hugely
for
beneficial.
a hot sauce company.
Yeah.
Should try
I
to get
like
one
that
of-
show.
One of our hot sauces.
You like
on there.
that?
Yeah.
When I see clips from that, I wonder. I say, I says to myself, who watches this?
Have you ever watched an
millions of
entire
people?
episode?
I know. That's what blows my mind, Phil. Is it's like the most popular on.
I think it's great.
Yeah. Do you see the caliber of people they have on there? too?
Yes, I see all the clips from it.
Have you not sat through like a whole episode though? Because it's made really, really well.
Yeah.
And Sean asks like some really interesting questions.
Okay, I trust you, Phil. Now I'm gonna check
Yeah,
out.
it's
the
good.
episode. I see the clips online. But
Yeah,
that's-
and I think the key is to watch it all the way through because you get to see the progression and just how the two things, the interview and then like the effect of hot sauce intermingle, and it's just like a weird, wacky idea, and they execute it so well.
Yeah.
I've seen Sean on other shows where he gets interviewed, and he had talked about famously DJ Khaled. Did he have an episode?
One of the first episodes, he chickened out after 2 or 3 hot sauces. I don't remember if he walked off the set, but basically was just like, no, I'm done.
Yeah, I think he had said he ate like a big ass lunch before that, and then rolled in. They like warned him. They're like, do not do that, and then he did it anyway, and just did not participate hardly.
Yeah.
That specific episode, I would be interested in.
Yeah, well, if you find it, share it with me, please. All right, finally, end of our little chit-chat here up top. Some of you might be wondering, where's Randall? How is Randall?
I was
What's he up to? Were you thinking that? Well, let me tell you, folks, he's on vacation in Germany. And today, we have our first installment of Randall Does Europe. Let's see the clip, Phil.
Friend, it's your old pal, Dr. Randall, reporting live on tape delay from Europe. Got a Borsnut here. It's a lovely Austrian treat. And just wanted to give you a quick update on how my vacation's going. So follow along, and I think you'll enjoy this.
Incredible.
What a treasure that man is.
Not much audio in that. So
Yeah.
for folks who are only listening, that was 2 minutes of Randall just eating hot dogs and sausages in Europe.
Yes. Cody says that Randall is the most successful homeless person in history.
I noticed some of those clips he was wearing the same outfit, so he was going double meal of sausage in some of those days.
Yeah, I think he's going to have like
living
a
right.
5 to 7 day recovery period when he comes back.
Well, but you got to remember, he's traveling Europe, so he's probably wearing the same outfit several days in a row.
Well, then he styled his hair the same. He did everything the same on those.
True. It was funny because we were slacking with Randall, and I think, Chili, you asked him like if he had hiked those hot dogs up to the top of that mountain.
Yeah, well, like he texted us that video, one in the little montage he had there, and I was like, "Did you hike that thing up there? Because I could definitely see you packing a hot dog, hiking to the top of a mountain, and then sitting down and eating it." Mm-hmm. But no, there's like a little stand up there.
Yeah, and his answer was, no, Europe is the best place ever. They just have cabins on top of mountains that serve beer and sausages.
Yeah, which is makes me want to go now.
No, hey, wherever he is, I 100% want to go and experience that. That looks delicious.
Yeah.
Does
Very
Latvia
jealous.
have a real sausage culture?
No. They make some sausages for sure.
What is there's like dumpling adjacent things, pierogies?
A little bit, man. It's bland food.
That's not nice.
It's very, like sauerkraut, giant hunks of pork cooked slow. It's not too exciting, but I think also like the same way it was for hunting over there in the hunting traditions, right? Like being not Latvia and being occupied for so many years, like they kind of just beat that stuff out of you, right? So because you're not allowed to celebrate being a Latvian, you can't sing your own songs, you can't eat your own food, you can't, pray in church in your own language, right? All that stuff is beaten out of you. And so now they've been free since 91. It's sort of probably like, hopefully that stuff will come back around and somebody will find old versions of, Latvian food and it'll become a thing again. But it takes time, man. Like that place is, they sort of lose your identity when you're occupied for so long,
It's on you. You got to help do that.
Totally. Luckily, I have peers that are over there doing that. Okay. Our next segment is 1 minute fishing, Phil.
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Go ahead. Make my cast.
1 minute fishing is where we go live to someone who's fishing and they have 1 minute to catch a fish. And if they're successful, we'll make a $500 donation to a conservation group. This week, our angler is Tony Jackson from Fin Chasers USA in North Carolina, and he's fishing for a donation to the Coastal Conservation Association. Tony, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Tony, Janis here. Has it been 2 years or 3 years since we fished together?
It's been at least 2. It could be 3.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of fishing with Tony and my father-in-law's neighbor, Steve Pfeiffer. Shout out to Steve, who's, according to Steve, he's still out there hammering away. Have you seen him lately?
Yeah, he's still catching fish. He's
Yeah, at the ripe old age of 80, multiple back surgeries, and he's still he's not letting down, man. He likes to set the hook.
Yeah, I feel bad for the local panfish population, that's for sure.
Tell me about your day of fishing with Tony, Jani.
We were, I think, pretty much solely targeting redfish, and we were using cut bait under. Were we fishing popping corks, Tony?
Yeah,
I believe.
Cut bait under popping corks.
Yeah, and it was like often it is with redfish. If you're off the mark by 10 feet with your cast, there's like no bite. But if you put it in the spot, man, it was a fish almost every single cast. So I don't know how many we caught that day, but it was quite a few. How's the fishing been lately out there?
Redfish bites just now starting to pick up. It started off a little slow for us this year. Typically by May we're wide open, and this year they trickled in, but the shrimp are pretty thick in the river, and it's full of shad and mullet. So naturally,
what do you think? What do you think caused that slow start?
I'm not real sure. I know we had a pretty cold winter. We had a big freeze. I don't know if that put a dent into it or if it's just one of those years where that happens. I think it's possibly the freeze, because we did have other areas like out in the Neuse River. The bite was a little bit better, so they were a little less impacted. But here inshore, it was kind of slow. But
so if someone's out there gonna try to go get into some redfish themselves, or anything else, I guess for that matter, in that area, what would you recommend they fish with?
Well, if they wanted to fish with artificial baits, it's hard to pass up a topwater. I'd rather catch one fish on topwater than 10 on a soft plastic or a live bait personally. I'm a big fan of the MeatEater topwater baits, and you can kind of get away with just two. You have the top pup, and then you have the sheep pup. The top pup being a quiet version, and then the sheep pup being very loud.
Tony, is there any conventional wisdom about what redfish do, like before, during, after a hurricane? Does the fishing improve or does it get worse? What happens?
The fishing definitely improves before and leading right up to it, and even during it if it's not that significant of a storm. I think following barometric pressure, just like any other animal movements, it turns them on and sets them on to feed. Now the post-storm, once it goes by, you have the rise in pressure, it can shut them down. But then after it's gone by, been past for a couple days, I've had some really good experiences.
So what are we fishing for today then?
Well, this morning our trip was for redfish, but for my 1 minute, I'm going to try to catch any fish.
Okay, and using what to do it?
Some cut menhaden.
All right. So what are our possibilities then when you say catch any fish?
Pinfish, spot, croaker, possibly a redfish. Those would be the most likely.
Have you pre-fished this spot? Are you feeling pretty confident?
I feel pretty good about it. I haven't pre-fished it. We did fish it this morning, and there were a lot of pinfish and croakers here. Picked up one redfish out of it, but.
Okay, Tony. Well, your 1 minute of fishing starts when you make that first cast.
All right.
He's decked out for the 4th of July. Got a red, white, and blue hat on. Does this look familiar to you, Jani? Is this where you went fishing?
Man, I'm sure it's not too far. Oh, he's got a cast in.
Okay.
Timer started.
There's no retrieve happening. Oh, did he set the hook?
Oh, he got it.
He's on.
He's got
He
one.
got it.
We are 10 seconds in, and he has set the hook on a fish.
I think it might
Oh, we
be.
got a little video hitch.
Oh, he's actually having to fight it a
It's
little
taking
bit.
drag. Maybe that's just for the drama.
Does he have to land it in it within a minute?
No. Just as long as you hook up. He can
Okay.
fight this thing for the next 10 minutes. We'll just
Okay.
sit here and watch him.
All right.
I don't see a net appearing. He's going to swing it into the boat.
Oh,
Come on. Oh, what did he get?
Oh, what is that?
It is
Of
a
course,
shellfish.
this is.
That was
Hold on, those oysters?
yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
No. We thought he had a fish, and it was just a stack.
Got about
of
10
clams.
seconds left here.
Come on, Tony, 10 seconds. Let's go. You just got to hook him.
All right, Tony, tell us what happened there. We couldn't see it very well. What did you reel in?
Well, I reeled in an oyster. I cast out and got the pinfish were all over it as soon as it hit the water, and we're pecking away at it. And I set the hook, and it jerked back, but it ended up not being a fish.
Damn. At what point did you know those were oysters on there? When you saw them?
No, whenever I felt the rod, there was just a heavy, slow pull back.
Damn.
That was exciting for a while.
1 minute fishing again. There was even some drag being taken. We thought we had a big fish on.
Good, right? Yeah, those oysters will get in the current with the tide, and they'll pull back and have you fooled.
All right, well, Tony, tell us if someone wants to get out on a charter with you, if they're in that Beaufort, North Carolina area, how do they find you?
They can find me on Facebook at Fin Chasers USA, Instagram at Fin Chasers USA, and I have a website. It's www.finchasersusa.com, and they can reach out to me on my phone. It's 252-876-2815.
All right, you got any openings coming up in the next couple weeks? I'm guessing you're pretty booked.
I am pretty booked the next couple weeks, but there's some openings sprinkled in.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for participating. Thanks for the fishing report, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks for having me.
I saw some folks in the chat asking if anyone has ever been successful. The answer is yes. Jani was successful.
That's right.
He was also chumming pretty hard.
Oh, that's okay. We'll take it. It was for the good of conservation. Pat Durkin was successful
did great, yeah.
in Idaho. We had Chester was successful ice fishing in Wisconsin. So it has happened.
We got a lot of people in the chat saying that should count.
Yeah.
Says there's nothing in the rule book that says it needs to be pelagic. Shellfish has fish in the name.
I don't know. MeatEater hasn't made a donation for this in a while, so we could probably make that happen.
Yeah.
My vote's for Tony.
You votes for Tony?
You're the host, Jani.
Spencer,
you
what
make
do
the
you
call.
think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey.
Okay.
$500.
But does anybody remember what he told me now? It was
the Coastal Conservation Association.
No, it was something for fishing with kids.
It was catching for kids.
Catching for kids, yeah.
Oh, catching for kids.
I believe that's what he said.
Okay, we'll have to let him know because he's gone.
Yeah.
$500.
All right, Tony. You the chat room says you should win, so we're going to give it to your
It was a live
nonprofit.
animal that has
That's true.
the word fish.
The only
in
person
its
that's
name.
against it right now is Corey Calkins. I get out of here, Corey.
Yeah, it was
No need to be
It was
contrarian.
on the end of a hook on his fishing rod. $500 for the shellfish catch. Going to who, Jani?
Catching for kids,
Catching for
it looks like they are out of that same area of Beaufort, North Carolina, the Crystal Coast there, and you can help them out. It looks like they take donations to purchase rods, reels, tackle. They give out they do adopt a family for Christmas and give out that kind of stuff.
On that note, some kid would have been very excited to catch that hunk of clams.
Oh, yeah.
Because it wasn't just one.
Yeah. Okay, it says right here, their goal, children spending quality time outdoors enjoying fishing and all the water has to offer. Mm-hmm. Can't say no to that.
That's right. MeatEater can't take it back now. $500.
Corey says ChatGPT says a shellfish is not a fish. That's more of a reason to stay away from ChatGPT.
That's right.
I wonder where Corey is right now.
Probably on a river somewhere.
He's just jealous that he's after his embarrassing look on the pond in the back these last few weeks.
What else we got, Phil, for listener feedback?
Get some feedback here. Let's do it. Titus asks, here's a question for the crew. Which is harder, finding a matching set of shed antlers, an antler deadhead, or shooting a buck?
If I were to rank those things, shooting a buck, easiest. Finding an antler deadhead, second easiest. Finding a matching set of shed antlers, third.
Agreed.
I agree with you.
I've found many of deadheads that have both antlers, but as far as matching sets go, I have 3, I think.
I've never found one.
Oh. Is your Wisconsin property good for shed hunting? Because some properties are set up real well, and other ones
they're
are
not. This would be a nice segue if we were going right to this. But my Oak Savannah supposedly they love dropping their antlers in that tall grass. So maybe it'll become that way. I think that I found one shed this year when I was there turkey hunting. I would overall say no, although my dad did find a matching set. It took him over the course of a whole year to find the other side, but he did find both sides. And that was that big old giant that, just the antlers themselves, no spread credit, was like almost 180.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
180 without spread?
Yeah, it was a big
You got to
boy.
show me these antlers.
Yeah, I don't have. They're in at my dad's house, but I have some pictures I can show you.
180 without spread. Mm-hmm. So if he had an 18-inch spread, he's almost a 200-inch deer.
Yeah, he's a giant. He was. We haven't seen him now for a couple, 3 years.
Who measured this deer? You?
I did.
Wow. 180. Mm-hmm. How have you not shown me these things?
I figured I have. I've shown all of my whitetail fanatic friends.
Not all of
but
them.
I guess not you.
What's he got going on? How many points?
He's actually just a mainframe 8, but he's got incredible brow tines the year that we found the shed.
Mainframe 8 going 180 inches.
Yeah,
almost impossible.
I mean, he's got like...
You're certain?
I mean, again, it depends on what counts as mainframe and what you'd count as like an inline sticker. But like, yeah, when you look at him, you're like, oh no, he's not a 10-point. It's just like, but he looks incredibly massive because he's like, his brow tines are probably almost as long as his longest, regular tines, his G2 and 3.
But he could have 10 inches of stickers, and that would still be like an unbelievable 4x4.
Oh, I'm happy to show you multiple pictures of him. Yeah.
I am mildly skeptical.
Okay.
180 inches.
Yeah.
Without spread.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope you're accurate. I hope it's right. Blow my mind.
I even went through a scoring app with the buck and like an app.
Now
that
I'm more
scores
skeptical.
It and I came up with roughly the same answer.
Okay.
Will asks, have you guys ever battered and fried trout fillets? He says everyone tells him he's crazy to do it.
I have not.
I have. They're crazy to think that you can't batter and fry anything out there. I recently heard that grease is the great American equalizer. I love that saying.
Who said that?
I don't know where I picked that up.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I've totally done just straight up deep fried trout. Nothing wrong with it. Just make sure you do a good job getting the bones out of it, and you'll have a tasty meal.
Now we move on to Spencer's accessory corner. First, Spencer version 2.0 asks, Spencer, where can I buy that hat? That thing is awesome.
Oh, the MeatEater store, themeateater.com. Maybe store.themeateater.com. This is one of our new offerings. I think our merch has gotten so strong.
Oh yeah, it's
like
improved tenfold the last couple years. Yeah,
this hat is a good example of that. It's got a bison on it. Yanni said this is what the cool kids wear now. These hats.
Mm-hmm. The little rope on it. Mm-hmm. Kind of sits a little bit high.
Yep.
I don't really like the way they fit on me, but Laura Mascari, I believe that's how you say her name, who's running our merch program these days. She said it made me look young, so here I am again.
There you go.
Wearing one.
I think of our improved merch offerings, hat is at the top of the list, and we all three have some of our new hats on today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The second question in the Spencer accessory corner comes from Mogor. Yeah, Spencer, my girlfriend says you've got the coolest notebook sticker she's ever seen.
Oh, wow.
She thinks Teddy was the greatest president of all time. I think you can let Mogor know where people can get that.
Seth Morris, his wife, is an artist, Kelsey, and she sells a variety of stickers and prints on her website. I'm not certain what that is, but that sticker is one of Kelsey's stickers. I think we even sell them in our brick and mortar MeatEater store in Bozeman. So if you type in, I think it's like
I've seen him there.
K Ray Arts, something like that.
Artworks, yeah.
That is where you could get that sticker.
Let's see.
What else
Now
you got, Phil?
we don't have MeatEater menu on the docket today, but Freddie, Rick, and the Mons asks just what you guys have been cooking, wild game dishes you've been cooking.
Oh, I got a hot answer for you, Freddie. Recently did my first ever birria dish, and I just used a bunch of like neck, shanks, and lot to learn from this. You know, Randall and I always go back and forth because he still likes to grind like the stuff that has all the sinew meat in it, and I just think that's crazy because then you have to eat a burger and you got to pick stuff out of your teeth, and that stuff doesn't do you any good in the burger, but where it does do you so much good is in a dish like birria, which basically it's very simple. I use the New York Times cooking app. I think we have a version of it on the MeatEater. But I just chunked up the neck and these shanks into, I don't know, 2 to 3 inch pieces. Did a very quick brine in just water with a half a cup of vinegar and some salt. That's it. You do that for 30 minutes, and it's amazing how much that actually changes sort of the feel and texture of the meat. Then you put it into a slow braising pot, like Dutch oven style, cover it with cold water, and again, a little bit of salt. I don't think there's any spices yet. You let that roll for like 2 hours until it starts to cook down. As that's going, you rehydrate some chili peppers. I forget exactly what kind, but not too spicy. Guajillo maybe or something like that. Once they're rehydrated, you take them and a cup of the water you used to rehydrate, put them in your blender, buzz it up until you just get this like saucy, pasty thing. Dump that into the braising liquid, and basically just let it cook until it's shreddable. And then you serve it. You actually take the meat out of the broth while it's still warm, season it, salt and pepper, and then corn tortillas, lots of white onion, cilantro. That's the basic. You can just leave it as is. But then I also did some pineapple chunks on there. We had some of that cotija cheese. And then you make your taco. And the recipe said to actually eat the taco and then chase it with the broth. But what we started doing is actually doing like almost a French dip style. Yeah. Taking that taco and dunking it in that cup. And absolutely delicious. My wife and I made a pot last week, and I think we've had that for dinner 4 out of the last 5 nights.
No kids around, though, to review it.
No kids around,
Are you cooking differently now that your girls are off at camp for a little while?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, tell me what's different.
Well, just that we ate the same dinner 4 out of 5 nights.
Girls would not, they wouldn't let that fly.
You know what? I don't know because I don't think we've ever tried them, but I just feel I'm compelled to cook them different foods and do like different dinners every night. I mean, I don't know. I usually make enough to have a leftover a few nights later, but never like 4 out of 5 like I'm rolling with right now. But it's just very simple. We're not like a lot of times we're just sitting there in the kitchen, is standing and eating so that we can just like clean up real fast and get back to whatever we're doing.
Spencer, what's this?
I made elk steaks last night.
Oh.
I love summer grilling weather, so had those on the Camp Chef with some potatoes and asparagus.
What cut did you make those out of?
That was, I don't remember what it was. I don't recall now. I pulled it out of the freezer like a week ago and then instantly put them into a Ziploc bag, so I don't even recall.
Was it like a whole muscle and then you cut it up into steaks?
No, these were already staked by our friend Anna Borgman. Yeah. Hey. I don't know if Anna did this specifically for me because she knows my family size is just me and my wife, but I got very petite-sized portions of steaks and roasts, and I really appreciated that. Maybe she does that for everyone, but I imagine if you're like a family of 5 and she knows that you'd get 6 steaks in one of your packages instead of mine came 2 at a time. I really liked that. I felt like I was getting some boutique butchery by Anna there,
which you are.
Yes, that's right.
How is that bull eating overall?
Oh, very good. I got no issues with it. My favorite thing, what makes me more motivated to kill more elk, are just the sizes of the roasts. I'm so used to working with deer that are 160 pounds or whatever, and I'm just like very familiar with all the steaks and roasts that you get from that. But the size of the steaks and the roasts off an elk, very different, very fun to work with. I like that.
All right, we'll do one more question, then we'll move along here. Onex82 says, Phil, Horde or Alliance? The answer is Alliance. Shout out to my Night Elf Druid and my Human Warrior Crentist. I missed you guys. All right, that's it.
And then to circle back to the sticker, it is kraeartworks.com. That's KRAE artworks.com, and she has that sticker there.
Thanks for that, Spencer. All right, our next segment is fake news.
Let's play fake news. A P-tape in Russia. Pizza game balloon. Working for flying a UFO. Steven's a better shot than Janis. So is that so? This opportunity comes once every few weeks.
You would think you set your minds to, guys. Except like
does the general public know that it is you that is singing those songs?
I believe so.
Okay, good.
No, we actually got Eminem to do that
right.
one. He's such a big fan, being from Michigan and all. He said, I could do this.
That's where the entire podcast budget went to this year.
All right, fake news is where I read a series of headlines in which a real one is hiding among 3 imposters. Your job is to figure out which one is true. So grab your whiteboard, Jani. Grab your whiteboard, Chili. Don't be cheating looking at my computer.
Just headlines.
Just headlines. The first headline: why scientists are horrified by the world's first blank farm. Is it octopus, panda, mosquito, or crocodile? Why scientists are horrified by the world's first octopus farm. Why scientists are horrified by the world's first panda farm. Why scientists are horrified by the world's first mosquito farm. Why scientists are horrified by the world's first crocodile farm. One of those is real. The other 3 are fake. Chili, very quick to answer. It's almost as though you know it. Do you know it, Chili?
Well, no. It's the first time I'm seeing this question.
I didn't catch this in the news either.
But I have a good train of thought as to why I think this is right.
Why scientists are horrified by the world's first blank farm. Octopus, panda, mosquito, crocodile.
I'm ready.
Boys ready? Go ahead and reveal your answers. We have Janis saying mosquito farm. We have Chili saying octopus farm. One of you is right. The correct answer is octopus.
No!
Why scientists are horrified by the world's first octopus farm. That headline was from Veg Out on July 2nd, 2025. The Spanish seafood giant Nueva Pescanova is currently working on the world's first commercial octopus farm. Animal activists are flatly against the operation, especially since the octopi are killed by getting dumped into tanks of ice water where they slowly freeze to death. This has captured the attention of American lawmakers who are working on legislation that would ban commercial octopus farming in the United States. Senators from Rhode Island and Alaska are drafting the bill, saying, quote, science has shown that octopuses are sentient, emotionally complex animals, and the conditions required to farm them are inherently cruel and incompatible with their basic needs. Have you ever eaten octopus, Jani?
Oh, yeah.
I have not. Where'd you eat it at?
You have not?
I've just never had the opportunity. I haven't turned down the chance to eat octopus.
Well, I mean, you could order it any time you go to a sushi joint, usually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What? How have you eaten your octopus? You like it?
Well, yeah, love it. Yeah, I've had it at sushi joints, probably a couple different ways, but I think in the end it's probably always cooked somewhat similarly, where it can be tough, and so it has to have sort of the tenderness beaten into it. But I think it's usually served cold. When you do it over like nigiri, over rice.
You're eating octopus when you're served octopus.
Oh, yeah.
It looks
and it's delicious.
just like octopus.
Yeah.
Chili, do you have an octopus review?
Yeah, there is a documentary out there called My Octopus Teacher, and it's on Netflix. And that's kind of like where, like, as soon as the question popped up, that's where my head went. And there's a lot of good information about it. And, like, octopus are a lot more... there's much more to them than we'll probably ever
Have
know,
you eaten it, though?
Have I eaten it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we're talking about? Okay. No.
I'm fine with farming all sorts of stuff that makes it to our dinner plate. But you know what? I'd maybe side with the animal activists here that octopi we could just leave alone. Let them do their own thing. What do you think of that?
That's fine, but I would ask you then, is it still okay to then just, drag them up out of the depths or grab them out of their little hole and bite them in the head?
I'm not passionate about this. I haven't thought a lot about it. I would say, as of now, you can ask me tomorrow, against octopi farming, for harvesting octopus in the wild, though. That's my stance, official stance as of today.
Okay. Yeah, I can get down with that. I'd have to read into it a little bit more. But
Phil, you love eating octopus?
I think I swear I have, but I can't remember when or where. So this is I shouldn't have even said anything.
Yanni was making me feel bad for never having it.
In
Now
Alaska,
it's one out of
they
4 of
smoke
us.
it often and then preserve it. Is how I've had it a lot too. It's delicious.
All right. Headline 2. It's the end of an era. The U.S. national parks prepare to ban blank. Is it glass, horses, skateboards, or cash? It's the end of an era. The U.S. national parks prepare to ban glass. It's the end of an era. The U.S. national parks prepare to ban horses. It's the end of an era. The U.S. national parks prepare to ban skateboards. Or it's the end of an era. The U.S. national parks prepare to ban cash.
Our producer Jake just popped into our private chat here and said he's eating live octopus.
Whoa. I don't know how that works. They must have been small, right?
I don't know. Let us know, Jake.
Okay.
We'll update the audience.
Whoa.
Our players are slower to answer this time. Chili got that first question right. Yanni did not.
I have an answer.
It's the end of an era. The U.S. national parks prepare to ban. Is it glass, horses, skateboards, or cash?
I could see 2 out of 4 being correct here.
I feel like the beginning of this question, it's the end of an era. So it has to be something that has been around for a long time.
Are you boys ready?
All 4 of those things have been around for a long time.
Well, I know they've been around, but like it's like something that's like it'll be shocking once it goes away.
Are you boys ready?
I'm ready.
Go ahead and reveal your answers. We have Janis saying horses and Chili saying horses. You're both wrong.
No!
What would be your next guess?
Cash.
Skateboards?
Cash is correct.
Oh, wow.
It's the end of an era. The U.S. national parks prepare to ban cash. This headline was from The Travel on July 2nd, 2025. The National Park Service has been slowly moving toward card-only for a few years and plans to be totally cashless soon. NPS says it's been, quote, an overwhelmingly positive experience for both visitors and employers so far. They claim it reduces transaction time at entrances, creates fewer accounting errors, and lessens the risk of theft. Critics say this will directly impact international visitors who want to avoid overseas card fees, as well as youth who don't have their own bank accounts. Some senators are pushing back on the new policy, questioning how the federal government can legally refuse currency that was created by the federal government. You both seem like cash guys to me. I bet Yanni's got like $60 in cash on him right now. Or Chili, I bet you got $60 in cash.
Yeah.
I've got 10 on me, and then I think I've probably got a couple of 20s out in the car. I do like to have a little bit around, but man, it's just becoming like you used to always use that emergency cash, and now I feel like those 20s in the car, they maybe have been there for years. My dad's going to be upset.
Why?
Because he's a cash guy.
He's a big cash
still.
guy?
Yeah. Like, we go through this
How many national parks does he go to, though?
Not that much. No. But I think just in what am I trying to say? Like, the idea of it, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's not going to be into it. We go through this at hunting camp every year. He's the guy that pays for the lodging and then has to collect the money from the rest of the group.
Oh.
And so there's cash,
No
there's
Venmo
checks.
for him.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, if you had Venmo, all the money would already be in your bank account. Instead, you have to deal with this and like add and subtract, and it's just lately I'm a late adopter, I think, but I've really come to embrace and love the Apple Wallet.
Oh. It is convenient. I think at first it wasn't because not enough places would accept it, but now it's like almost universal. So smooth. Chili, what are you doing with all that cash on you?
Oh, I kind of save it. Like when I go on trips, it's like good to have some cash so you can like, I don't know, spend it on stuff that like souvenirs, whatever.
It's free money at that point.
Right.
Yeah, it's not, you're not spending your own money. Cash.
Yeah, no, for sure. Do you guys still have the change jars? Is that a thing still?
There's one in my house, but it's not filling up anymore.
Mine is
stagnant.
I have one. I always go and do the change exchange thing. Walk away with about $100. It's great.
There you go. I like to keep some cash in like my tackle box in case something were to happen while I'm fishing where I need help from a fellow angler. It came in handy. One time I helped out a guy and I jumped his pickup for him, and then I kept that 20 in my tackle box until I had to use it. Like 4 years later, I got stuck in a snowdrift ice fishing, and someone came and pulled me out. So it's like the brotherhood of the traveling $20 bill at this point. There's only one thing I use cash for anymore, and that's it. Headline 3, Florida fisherman is charged in shark blank. Is it robbery, meat fraud, stabbing, or drug smuggling? Florida fisherman is charged in shark robbery. Florida fisherman is charged in shark meat fraud. Florida fisherman is charged in shark stabbing. Florida fisherman is charged in shark drug smuggling.
I'm liking this version of it, but when you first explained the game to me, I thought that you were going to have just 3 completely different headlines.
Oh, okay.
And one of them was going to be real.
No, we're just swapping out.
Or one was going to be the imposter. Yeah.
Florida fisherman is charged in shark. Is it robbery, meat fraud, stabbing, or drug smuggling? You both got question 2 wrong. Only Chili got question 1 right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Go ahead and reveal your answers. We have Janis saying meat fraud and Chili saying stabbing. Correct answer.
I feel like stabbing is what a Florida person might do.
Is stabbing. Chili got it right.
That's not the right slide.
He got
I forgot to put the headline in there. That's from the old game. News. It's stabbing.
Chili got 2 of these right. This headline was from the New York Times on June 6th, 2025. It's about Zane Garrett, a charter fisherman who is being charged with animal cruelty. The 26-year-old was shown in a viral video repeatedly stabbing a shark and then cutting the line. The Florida man told authorities that it was revenge for the shark stealing his fish. His business's website, Second Nature Charters, says, quote, "With Captain Zane at the helm, every fishing excursion becomes an unforgettable journey filled with camaraderie, I don't know what that next word is I wrote down. And most importantly, epic catches that will be cherished for a lifetime. This comes just 1 month after a different Florida fishing guide was sentenced to 30 days in jail for shooting and poisoning dolphins." This Florida man.
Meat fraud has been in the news lately.
On what example?
Specifically, seafood meat fraud.
Oh, I'm going to try to get a future guest to talk about in South Carolina. Is this what you're referring to?
I thought that it was West Coast where I had read about it recently.
What I'm referring to is in South Carolina, they sort of just did a big sting operation where they DNA tested all the shrimp in these businesses that were saying they're selling locally caught shrimp. And they identified, I think it was 25 places, which is a crap load, that the DNA showed those shrimp came from overseas.
Oh, yeah.
From like farms in Thailand.
Because the local shrimp is so much more expensive.
Yeah, that bothered me a lot when I saw that. That would bum me out when I go somewhere and it like elevates the experience, thinking I'm eating one thing, and then to find out it's just shrimp that came from Costco. What a bummer!
Major
so in a
bummer.
Future episode, we're going to interview somebody about that shrimp fraud. Putting it out there right now.
Do it.
All right, that's the end of fake news. Chili's the big winner today.
Good job, Chili.
Thank you.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Knowledge of current events there.
Current events, yeah.
All right. We saved the best for last. Just kidding. Second to best because Randall obviously stole the show today. But we're now going to chat with Jacob Hernandez, private lands biologist for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's Partners for Fish and Wildlife program, and his colleague, Bo Hendrickson, a habitat restoration technician that works for Golden Sands Resource Conservation and Development. Man, it's a mouthful. The two of them have been helping me execute the Oak Savanna project on our land in Wisconsin. Jacob and Bo, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We're doing great. Not standing outside in a soon-to-be Oak Savanna like you guys, though, so I'm jealous for sure.
Yeah, it's a bit warm out today, but otherwise we're doing all right.
It's nice.
Yeah, looks like a nice day. What is the temp? It's been hot there lately.
87?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not too bad at all. Unless the humidity's 97, then it could be bad. But it looks like you guys are enjoying the shade of one of my oak trees that are left standing, huh?
You bet.
Yeah,
smart. All right, first, tell me about the program that you two help administer, and then sort of explain how that program is working the project that you guys are helping my dad and I with.
Yeah, so our program is the Partners for Fish and Wildlife program, like Jani introduced. We're with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, or specifically I am with that program. And our program was designed or born out of the late 80s under the National Wildlife Refuge System. And our program is designed to help private landowners. So we define private landowners as anything non-state or federal owned. So city, county land. Obviously our biggest bread and butter is private landowners. We can help with these restoration projects via cost share and technical assistance. We also have several partners that we work with collaboratively to try to implement those restoration projects. And I'll let Bo talk a little bit more specifically about the project here that we're working on with you.
Yeah, so if my memory jogs me right, Janis reached out to us. So a lot of landowners approach us with these potential projects to invite us out onto the property to do a site visit. So we came out, checked out the site before we came out here. We actually did a little bit of homework looking up in the 1937 aerial photos that are posted for Wisconsin. Saw that this specific area that we're working in here was a little bit more open growing, a little bit less tree density, not agriculture, and kind of gave us the signs of an oak savanna remnant or potential for an oak savanna remnant. And so that's pretty much exactly what we're doing out here. Trying to restore an oak savanna. This area historically was a mix of, brush, oak savannas, prairies, back when the indigenous people were here. And so we're just trying to restore the native habitat back to that time to benefit, the wildlife species that are out here.
All right, so take me through the timeline, which I got to say, people have asked me how efficient this process has been, and out of all the work that I've been doing out there, your project specifically has been like the most efficient, and like we've been moving extremely fast, which has been awesome to see because a lot of this stuff just takes forever. But take me through this sort of the timeline and the different steps and take us up to present day.
Yeah, well, we appreciate the kudos on that for sure. We're a pretty small and nimble program, and so we are pretty flexible and can act pretty quickly when the situation presents itself. But like Bo said, Jani had gotten a hold of us about a year ago. Logging operations were happening, so there was timber being cut, hauled off, decked, the whole 9 yards. And we came in, and the property was covered in timber slash. So when we had the area identified, the unit identified, we got a hold of Janis, made sure we had all the objectives correct and everything like that. And then our first step was, okay, if we're going to seed this thing down to a more herbaceous understory cover, kind of like an oak savanna, we needed to get some of that timber slash cleaned up. So we had a contractor come out. We hired him, worked through that process, oversaw those operations, especially because Janis being an absentee landowner, that's kind of something we can help with, obviously, from a technical standpoint. Oversaw that operation, got everything piled and cleaned up. And then it's kind of a waiting game to see what comes back on that in that seed bed. We saw a host of species coming back, some good, some less desirable. Incredibly, nothing insanely wild. A lot of times when we do that, it can be a flush of buckthorn or multiflora rose or several other invasive species that we see across the site. So it wasn't too bad in that regard. At that point, we then said, okay, we're gonna prescribe an herbicide application. We have some limitations out here with stumps and the tree stems that still exist. So we're kind of limited on like mechanical treatments and stuff. So herbicide was our best go-to tool. I know it's not always the most popular treatment, and we try to work with individual landowners based on those objectives accordingly. But in this scenario, we agreed that herbicide was the right option. So we prescribed glyphosate and 2,4-D, and when used correctly, following all safety, following timing, all that kind of stuff, we can get a good general kill on this. What we're seeing today is that there's a kill out here from a spray that was done about 2 weeks ago or so. There are some missed spots, but that happens. Not the end of the world. We'll come back and do one more treatment towards the end of the summer, and then hopefully that's the means to the end. There will hopefully be no more spraying, or if so, be very limited and very targeted. And the idea is we're setting our native species up that we plan to plant this fall or winter for the most success with the least competition as they get going.
Okay, so my neighbor and I was there 2 weeks ago, and my neighbor and I did the spraying. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a job did we do as herbicide applicators?
There's always going to be misses. Nobody can get it all in the first round. I'd probably say, between an 8 and a 9. That's just about common across the board, though. That's what you get especially with these stumps, a little bit of uneven topography from that logging operation, leaving some ruts in locations kind of made it probably a little bit difficult for you to do, a full complete application here. That's why people always just come back out and, reapply. The spots that you missed are really easy to see, and so you can just touch those up at a later time.
Do you guys feel like the touch-up can be done with a backpack sprayer, or is it going to take another round of driving around on the ATV?
It only looked like there was maybe 1 or 2 small strips, and honestly, we don't need 100% burn down, too. The idea is just to reduce competition, so... in my opinion, I think the second round of application that we do later in the fall, targeting some of the woody species that are out here, I think that's going to take care of it. And I think you guys will be set up really good. We'll still have enough seed bed exposed for us to broadcast seed and get good seed to soil contact for the winter to do its work with freeze thaw action. So yeah, there's no need to do more than we need to do. Right. So I think one more treatment as planned at the end of the season and we should be in good shape.
Right. Okay, so I think a lot of people, including myself, when I first heard about this program, are sort of wondering, like, well, why would the American government spend taxpayer money to be doing this kind of work on private lands?
Yeah,
tell me a little, like, what? How does it benefit just like the taxpayer that is probably never going to get to step foot on that land?
Yeah. So the program, is a cost share program. So we're putting, the American taxpayers' dollar back into habitat, trying to improve habitat. Our program's designed around trust species, federal trust species that are threatened, endangered, declining in population. That's our big focus out here. And so all that, the taxpayer dollars that's going, back into the ground, trying to improve the habitat for local wildlife. And also migratory birds, any wildlife, I guess, in the area. Also, it's really great. We try and use local contractors to boost the local economy out here. A lot of the areas that we're working in is rural Wisconsin, and so we try and find ways to boost that local economy, find ways to fit in with the community. Sometimes we'll have community fire departments help us out on these properties. So we're trying to find a way to almost, kind of get back to these local communities and support financially with them and also collaborate with them, such as fire departments and other partners that we use out here. So all in all, it all goes back to good habitat just to improve, a better climate resilient habitat out here versus just a bunch of invasives that, is kind of degrading for the wildlife species that we see.
I think I would just add clean water, healthy soil, local healthy ecosystems, as you mentioned, carbon sequestration, right? All of those really great things that occur with healthy ecosystems. That's what the American public has benefit on with the help here. So,
yeah.
All right. Obviously, I'm way interested in the what the habitat's going to do for deer and turkey. But tell me, from your viewpoint, like what sort of special species are you guys hoping to help out with this, and possibly like us being able to get to see in the coming years from this work that we're doing?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier, kind of designed around those threatened and federally endangered species out here. We're actually in a high potential range for the federally endangered Carner blue butterfly, also the rusty patch bumblebee. So these, might not be number one hitters that people think of, but they're very important to us in our program. And so we're hoping to see some of those. We've already seen some monarchs out here using the property when we've been out doing site assessments and monitoring to kind of check in on the project. Outside of that, migratory birds are going to hopefully be using this. Red-headed woodpeckers, a species of concern for us. We're hoping to see a couple of those out here. We leave dead standing snags to kind of provide that wildlife habitat for them. So across the board, we're trying to hit a whole spectrum, whether it's the pollinators, the birds, the deer, the turkey. All in all, our program is driven towards those threatened and endangered species, but we recognize and understand that a lot of these projects that we do are going to benefit that local wildlife, such as the deer, the turkey, bear, grouse, you name it. It's just kind of a whole umbrella restoration here. We're kind of just directing it towards one thing, but understand and know that those other species are definitely going to be benefiting from it.
What kind of upkeep is going to be involved for Janis? Is this a place that he's going to need to mess with next year and 5 years from now and 10 years from now?
Yeah, habitat restoration is definitely not something that happens overnight. I mean, we've let these ecosystems slide into invasive species peril and unchecked systems for hundreds of years. So it's definitely not something that happens overnight. Future management will likely include prescribed fire. That's not an option for everybody always. So there are other alternatives, sometimes mowing, spot mowing, some stuff like that to try to keep things in check. But prescribed fire is going to be a big one. Spot spraying might be required depending on how the system responds. But the hope is that, honestly, the biggest maintenance tool going forward on a 3 to 6 year fire return interval would be prescribed fire. Part of what we did with this project was, and Janis, to his credit, was very adamant that we made sure that we accounted for, some of the trail systems being considered as burn breaks. So, which is a huge thing. So that'll help with implementation of that prescribed fire.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. The prescribed fire, it's a great tool because that kind of helps to reduce that need for herbicide out here, in terms of long term. So, that's going to cut down on your woody invasives that might be coming in. It's going to help rejuvenate that prairie or the oak savanna, kind of clean up the thatch a little bit as, obviously we have snow here in Wisconsin. Things lay down, gets matted down over time, kind of makes it harder over a long term for those seeds to kind of work their way into the soil and keep expressing themselves within the prairie, which then kind of turns away from the wildlife benefit that we're trying to provide out here. So all in all, it does, a number, of wonders for us out here. And that's why, Jacob, we're kind of hitting on it so hard, just because it really helps reduce that herbicide use, rejuvenates it, and just, keeps the habitat what it is.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you guys taking the time. I look forward to reading the report today and hearing the follow-up later. But thank you again. And, I guess if anyone's interested in doing this on their own property or just wanting to find out more about this program, how do they do that?
Yeah, I would suggest people just Google the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Partners for Fish and Wildlife program. You'll find the state that you're located in, and typically there's a point of contact. Typically it's our state coordinators or someone acting in that role, and they'll get you in touch with the local biologist that would service, your counties or your area. When you do touch base with them, obviously contact information, property description, kind of your habitat objectives, that kind of stuff all helps streamline some of that communication and keep us moving at a pretty quick pace. Alternatively, your local conservation departments, your nonprofits, Natural Resource Conservation Service, Farm Service Agency, all those folks are collaborators that would know about us and can refer us to. But word of mouth is how we spread our name. So hopefully we get some calls.
All right. I love it, man. This gets me fired up. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Bo. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah.
Take care, guys.
All right, that gets me super excited just because I'm into it. I'm in the rabbit hole, and they just sort of they just mix me up in the mud down there and get me all fired up. Does that at all interest you guys, like that, hearing about doing that kind of work?
The prospects of me owning a property are so distant that it interests me less because I'm jealous of you that you get to make those decisions and participate in those things.
All right. Well, you're invited though, so you might get the opportunity to go hunt that oak savanna someday.
Okay. I like that. I'm gonna kill a deer there.
Yeah.
See all them pretty endangered butterflies.
Oh man, that's would be the best thing ever is if I could be there one summer and show my girls the monarch butterfly. And so, because I don't know if they've actually seen one yet, and I think there's gonna be a lot of kids. Yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of kids that are in that age right now. 15 and under that will maybe never see a monarch butterfly in their lives.
That sounds insane,
right? Doesn't it? It's a terrible thing to think about. So that's why I'm pumped on this. Is maybe we'll just give them a little bit longer shot at keep sticking around.
I liked your question about why the government would spend money or take a haircut on helping out a private landowner like you. And that's not a new concept at all. Where Chili and I grew up in the Great Plains, there was the Great Shelter Belt Project, which restored all kinds of habitats and created all sorts of new habitat. CRP, that's one of the biggest programs in the Great Plains, and wildlife don't know borders. They don't. They don't care if it's public or private. It benefits everybody.
Yeah.
So
yeah, especially and you can read this on their website, right? East of the Mississippi, it's like 80% of the land is private. So if you don't have people doing this kind of stuff on that amount of land, those little public vestiges, they can't do it on their own, right? Yeah. It's got to be a bigger ecosystem. All right, Phil, let's wrap it up with a few more questions.
Sure. I don't know if you have an answer to this or if this even would have been a good question for Jacob or Bo, but Kevin Morse asks, how do you stop deer from eating the good treetops after logging, leaving nothing but less desirable underbrush? We're having that issue on our logged property.
Yeah, I think Kevin's asking when he says the good tree tops, meaning like probably new growth of young desirable trees that they want to keep. Yeah, we haven't had that problem yet because we're getting such a flush of the desirable trees that there's enough, and our deer population is low enough that they're not hammering them. I mean, they do nibble on them, but in places like that, where you have to go to more extreme measures. I've been reading up on it. It's a lot. You can basically cage them out. There's people have done fencing, literally. There's also a thing that after you've done the logging, you can use the logging slash itself to build basically a perimeter around certain zones, and those will keep the deer out. But again, it takes time and money and effort to build these literally 10-foot tall, 10-foot wide walls of slash to keep deer out of zones like that. Yeah, that's kind of what I've seen so far. I know that I guess you can shoot deer. That's a good way to do it, is shoot a lot of does, try to limit your deer population a little bit. But I know that there's definitely certain places in the United States where it's a big issue, is to kind of keep the deer back from eating all the good trees.
Cool. Let's see here. If Andrew is asking Spencer, how was the trip to Isle Royale? I think you might have covered this a little on trivia, possibly. I don't remember, but have you talked about this at all?
I don't think I have. I loved it, Andrew. It was super cool. It's a part of the world I'm very interested in, specifically because of the world's longest predator prey study that's been taking place there for the last 75 years. If you're not familiar, there are wolves on the island and there are moose on the island, and it's one of the best way that biologists can study how those two animals interact. And so to get to be in that place in the middle of Lake Superior was a lot of fun. Got to spend 4 hours out there, and it's referred to as an island, but it's so big that the island has enormous lakes on them that have enormous islands that have lakes on them. So when you're there, it doesn't register that you're on an island. It's 45 miles long and I think like 5 miles wide. So it's a cool spot. If you live in that part of the country, you should go check it out. And it's not necessarily easy to get to. I booked my ferry tickets in January for a trip in June, and I think come February they were sold out. So start planning ahead.
Oh, wow.
If that's something that you
sold out for the entire summer.
Yes. It's a short window. They only run those ferries for like 3 months or something,
right.
A couple times a day. So start planning that now if you ever want to go there.
Cool. Jani, I think we've gotten some spring hunting stories from you, but Chili or Spencer, Canadian hunter, asks, how were the guys' spring bear and or turkey seasons?
Mine was non-existent, at least for back here in Montana, because I took that New Zealand trip, hunted tahr down there, which would have been the beginning of the spring season up here. So for the first 2.5 weeks I was out, and then got back into work, and then took a trip to Alaska for a production shoot with Steve and the crew. So I got 0 days for bear, and I had 1 day for turkey. Yeah.
I bear hunted 4 days, did not kill one. Turkey hunted 0 days. My spring was really focused on planting some stuff in my yard this year.
You're not a big turkey guy, are you, Spencer?
I'm not. No, I travel enough hunting in the fall that when spring comes around, I'm interested in fish and rocks. So I looked for a lot of fish and rocks this spring instead.
Cool. Last call for questions. We're going to take a couple more if you get them in here. But Noah asks, Spencer, will you ever take the opportunity to bow hunt whitetail instead of using a rifle?
Yeah, I used to bow hunt a lot. I bow hunted last season. I bow hunted the season before that. I did not kill anything either time. I got away from bow hunting when I moved to Montana, and I didn't have like a property that's set up really well to do that. To be successful bow hunting deer, you either like need a place that you're very familiar with, like Janis has in Wisconsin, or you're just like a really badass traveling bow hunter who is willing to commit 10 days to going somewhere and setting up stands or doing hanging hunts. Right now I value just like traveling to different places and hunting, and so I could do 2 rifle deer hunts in that 10 days. In the same amount of time, I could do 1 whitetail bow hunt. You're also then doing a lot more scouting in the summer. The pendulum will swing back the other way someday. I'm not there right now. Right now, I just really love traveling to new states and rifle hunting whitetails.
He's also going to be so successful that he's going to end up having his own whitetail property that he's going to manage and turn into a big old oak savanna, and then he'll be bow hunting a bunch.
I used to live 10 miles from where I would bow hunt a lot, and I would bow hunt 35 days a year. My biggest deer I ever killed was with a bow. I think my 3rd biggest deer I ever killed was with a bow. It'll happen again someday.
Cool. I think we're out of questions here. But let's see. Someone had a question for me that I was going to make a joke about, but it's not worth it. Oh, yeah. Hotlines Tribe asks, Phil, what editing software for video do you recommend to get into making content? Please and thank you. I am not the guy to ask this question. I've been doing audio since right out of college. And so everything that I learned in college around video editing and software, I mean, I'm completely out of touch on. Everything's moved on, and I haven't really done any video editing for 12 years. So honestly, you tell me, please. I'd love to know.
ChatGPT.
Exactly. Just generative AI. I'm a huge proponent of that.
Well, thank you all for tuning in and listening to us banter along. Tune in again next week when there's going to be Mark Kenyon, Ryan Callahan, and Spencer Neuharth in the host chair. Is that right?
That's right. Happy 4th of July, everyone.
That's right. Have a great time celebrating and stay safe. Be smart out there this weekend, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye now.